They say history remembers empires by their victories, their monuments, and their conquests. Yet some of the most revealing moments are not marked by triumph, but by fear. Fear creeps silently into palaces and battlefields, slipping into the minds of emperors, generals, and citizens alike. It is the invisible force that reshapes decisions, exposes vulnerabilities, and reminds the world that even the mightiest can tremble. This is the story of the day the most powerful empire felt fear. 10. The illusion of invincibility. For centuries, the empire had ruled continents with unmatched armies, unbreakable walls, and overflowing treasuries. Citizens believed in its permanence, in the invincibility of their rulers, in the eternal march of progress and conquest. Palaces gleamed like golden fortresses under the sun. Markets bustled with exotic goods, and armies marched confidently along endless roads. Generals boasted of victories yet to come, and diplomats negotiated treaties as though the world belonged entirely to their empire. But beneath the grandeur, subtle cracks were forming. Small, almost invisible, the kind that would later grow into chasms. Fear does not arrive suddenly. It begins as a whisper, a hesitation, an unexpected glance in the wrong direction. 9. The first ominous signs. It began far from the capital, at the fringes of the empire. Scouts reported unusual troop movements in forests thought to be quiet. Traders whispered of caravans intercepted and roads left empty, and villagers murmured of strange figures moving at night. The northern valley is no longer calm, a scout reported to his commander, voice low. "These are not ordinary bandits," said the general, frowning at the map under dim torchlight. The empire had never faced an opponent like this. Intelligent, invisible, unpredictable. Even the faintest reports carried the weight of a looming threat, seeding doubt in the hearts of those who had once believed in unshakable dominance. 8. The emperor's unease. In the marble halls of the palace, the emperor paced at midnight. Candles flickered across his weary face, casting shadows that seemed almost alive. Couriers arrived with reports of lost intelligence, skirmishes that were meant to be inconsequential, and territories showing unexpected unrest. The emperor, once resolute and commanding, now felt a creeping dread. He realized that his empire, with all its armies, wealth, and infrastructure, was not invincible. Fear whispered in his mind, a subtle yet powerful understanding that certainty is fragile and dominance can vanish in a single miscalculation. 7. The first encounter. On a distant frontier, a small but critical detachment engaged an enemy force previously dismissed as insignificant. What should have been a routine skirmish turned into a devastatingly efficient ambush. Soldiers reported tactics they had never seen. Swift, coordinated, and intelligent. Word traveled slowly to the capital, but with each report, unease grew. Commanders who had faced countless battles hesitated, realizing that the predictable strategies they had mastered for decades no longer guaranteed victory. For the first time, the empire was reacting rather than dictating, and reaction is the breeding ground of fear. 6. Citizens feel the ripple. Fear spreads faster than armies. As rumors of unexpected defeats and strange tactics reached towns and villages, ordinary citizens sensed that something was amiss. Markets grew tense, whispers filled taverns, and parents clutched their children tightly, afraid for the sons drafted into service. Even those far from battlefields felt the ripple of uncertainty. The illusion of invincibility shattered quietly, one whispered rumor at a time, reaching the hearts of millions before any battle could confirm it. 5. Strategies in shadow. The Empire's Council of War convened in secret. Maps spread across tables under candlelight. Advisors argued fiercely, every voice tinged with urgency and fear. "We cannot continue as before," said a general, his hand trembling over the map. "They anticipate our every move," another whispered. Envoys were dispatched to potential allies, spies infiltrated enemy territory, and contingency plans were drawn in haste. The Empire's usual certainty gave way to suspicion, paranoia, and the chilling awareness that for the first time in history, it could be outmaneuvered. 4. A moment of realization. As the reports mounted, the emperor faced an undeniable truth. No army, no treasury, no walls could guarantee safety. The empire's might, for all its brilliance, could crumble before strategy, intelligence, and uncertainty. This fear, deeply felt by leaders and generals, would shape decisions for decades to come. The realization that power is temporary struck not with thunder, but as a quiet, unrelenting shadow, slipping into every council chamber and barracks. 3. The turning point. The enemy struck again, with precision that seemed almost supernatural. Outposts fell, communication lines failed, and supply routes were compromised. The empire's reaction was slower than usual. Commanders hesitated, soldiers faltered, and confidence wavered. The empire, long accustomed to dictating terms, found itself reacting, a sensation foreign and terrifying. Even loyal citizens began questioning the unshakable certainty of their rulers. The day became a psychological battlefield, with fear as the most potent weapon. 2. Lessons etched in history. This day would not be forgotten. Scholars, historians, and chroniclers recorded not only the battles, but the fear itself, the invisible force that reshaped leadership, policy, and strategy. The empire learned that intelligence, adaptability, and vigilance are the ultimate tools against fear. No matter how powerful, no matter how dominant, every empire faces the same invisible test. This was the day when history reminded the mighty that even supremacy has limits. 1. The legacy of fear. The empire survived, but nothing remained unchanged. Leaders became more cautious, generals more deliberate, and citizens more aware of the fragility of power. Fear had acted as both teacher and warning, reshaping policy, strategy, and the psyche of those who wielded authority. Centuries later, historians look back at this day as the moment when the greatest empire realized that power is never absolute, and vulnerability can appear in the blink of an eye. The day the empire felt fear is remembered not for the battles fought, but for the invisible lessons etched in minds, decisions, and hearts. It reminds us that even the most formidable rulers are bound by the same uncertainties that define the human experience. Even today, ruins and records whisper of that day. Soldiers' letters, scribes' chronicles, and citizens' tales reveal the subtle tremor that fear can send through the mightiest of powers. History is shaped not only by armies and conquest, but by invisible forces, hesitation, doubt, and the shadow of fear. The empire teaches us that power, no matter how vast, can be challenged not only by swords, but by uncertainty. Fear leaves a mark deeper than victory ever can, shaping the course of civilizations for generations to come.